Hello, chess fans. Let me show you this Blitz victory. I guess it's a little hard to discuss it and play at the same time. My rating was going down, so doing it this way for this one. It's a cool game too. Check it out. Reverse Leningrad Dutch bird opening. He just goes for the feet. Kettle right there. He or she from Italy. Same exact rating. Funny enough. Alright, castles. This is kind of cool because we both have some time to do what we want. I'm going for some space up on the queen side too because it's more difficult for them to actually make use of a weak b3 square. Sometimes b3 can be a weakness when you push a4, but it's more difficult because the knight's not on c6 and the knight can't get a good spot on a5 in this line, so it's fine. Also, it's more sensible to push a4 because a5 is a threat opening the rook's line, or even flick in a6, hitting the bishop on a long diagonal. So he responds with a5 after a4, which is cool. So that's usually a wise decision to do. You know, most people who are experienced in chess, it's kind of like one of their pearls of wisdom. It's like, oh, they push a4, I'll push a5. Make a little waiting move on the side and really shore up the king side and make sure the knight doesn't go into g4, creating issues. And it also initiates a king side attack if ever appropriate. So here comes the knight to c5. Looking at the b3 square, but right now my queen's covering it. I actually have time to kick it right away. It's kind of complicated, but if they want to play knight f takes e4, exposing their long diagonals attack on my rook, I can take and then on e4 with my pawn on d3, d takes e4, and after bishop takes a1, I'll take their knight on c5 with my b pawn. So that will cause them to lose two knights for a rook. Yet they can get two pawns, but still in games like this, I would have more pieces in the attack, and I'd be able to initiate a kingside attack where the number of pieces are actually a little bit more valuable than the actual reach of the piece like a rook. So the knights could come in and wreak some havoc. And I already did start the kingside attack. He doesn't go for that anyway. He just says, fine, you push me, I'll go back and retreat. And then I hijack the diagonal with my bishop. He lashes out with c5. And now there's a backwards pawn on the a file, yet it's okay because I'm using the pawns that I push a lot as a trump card. The backwards pawn isn't really that much of a big deal, and eventually I might be preparing a break for a5, which can create a pass pawn on the b file. So I'm playing on the queen side right now for creating that pass pawn. Even though I have a backwards pawn, he's not able to blockade it at all. He can blockade it with his rook, but then my bishop and knights will be able to harass it, such as knight b d2 to b3, hitting the a5 square, bishop to c3, hitting the a5 square, you know, so he's not able to blockade that backwards pawn, ergo I can get some play on the queen side. e6, I don't know if he's preparing d5 or just giving his queen more scope, or just seeing if that's solid. Maybe he's lost in the woods right now against this system. I'm protecting my bishop so there's no tricks with knight takes e4. Instead of e6, if he played knight takes e4, be able to exchange bishops, and then bishop's hitting the rook, so it's okay. I'm not gonna be tricked or anything like that. There's no king queen force, you know. So anyways, I protect the bishop and prepare my rook to switch over after a potential trade to the queen side. Then I can leave the queen where she is because she's actually pretty effective there. Alright, knight out. So after that knight move hitting the pawn, it was wise to protect that bishop because I'm really, obliged to defend that g pawn. So I foresaw that knight move. Because if it was just this position, I did like a nothing move, like knight a3, then knight h5 would attack the pawn and attack the bishop. I could trade bishops and swap it off, but it's a little bit better just to have a solid game when you have a space advantage, have that solid game. F5 push, maybe that's what e6 was preparing. That's a funny way of thinking about chess, Cool, good for him, a little creative. I didn't really see that coming exactly, but I have a definite advantage here. Right here, some people might say, why wouldn't you just snap knight takes e6 and then queen moves somewhere and then knight takes rook? Well, the queen doesn't really have to move. It's like knight takes e6 and then the bishop can take on a1 and then knight takes queen and then rook takes knight. So he would get two minor pieces for a queen and a pawn. Two minor pieces and a rook for a queen and a pawn. So he would get the better of me in that exchange for sure. He'd get tons of pieces for the queen. So I take back and then just say, okay, please defend e6. He defends e6, and then I put my queen on b3 to pressurize his pawns. And there's really no defense here because even if he's plays something like a rook protecting e6, then I can play e5 real quick and open up this long diagonal. So he would have to defend his queen or remove the threat by pawn takes, and after that the bishop on b7 would be won for a pawn. So that's cool. And I accidentally I messed that up. Gotta refresh the screen because that pawn. So he wasn't able to play that move. I'll just skip ahead. And then he wasn't able to play any move protecting e6 besides the way he did it, which wasn't even protecting it. It was just losing material after queen b3. He wouldn't be able to play a rook because I would just push e5 and then expose the attack on the bishop, which can't be defended. Here we go, and now my light squared bishop is really good. He had no defense here. I was already in one position after queen b3, probably before that. So right now is check. There's no defense here. His knight's hanging. If he blocks with the rook, then I win the exchange. Knight takes rook. Also, I'm creating a pass pawn on the queen side. He lost it a different way. He just said, okay, fork my knight and my king, move the king, and then take the rook now. And now I'll create that pass pawn. And there's just some simple technique here to see where the knight's gonna go, and then remove the post for the knight and play here. Even if he didn't take the pawn back, I would have pushed a pawn on the c file, and ended up having pressure over there and having all the time in the world to do what I want. I have a huge advantage in that position. And here's this mating pattern I know. Thanks for watching the game. It's fun.